Namaste to all. A very beautiful dialogue between a questioner and Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati on the topic of emancipation and bondage. Emancipation means salvation. The questioner is asking, what is emancipation? Maharishi says, emancipation means release. The questioner asks, release from what? Maharishi says, that from which all the souls wish to be released. The questioner is asking, from which do they wish to be released? Maharishi answers, that which they need to be released from. The questioner is asking further, what do they need to be released from? Maharishi answers, from pain. Questioner is asking, after being released from pain, what do they get and where do they live? Maharishi answers, they get happiness and they live in Almighty God. The questioner asking, what is the reason for emancipation, or what causes emancipation and what causes bondage? A very beautiful question. Please listen carefully. Maharishi answers, emancipation is the result of the following 6 things. Point number 1, obedience to the order of Almighty God. By being obedient to Almighty God, we will get moksha. Point number 2, avoidance of vices, ignorance, bad company, ill association and evil habits. Point number 3, truthfulness, benefaction, education, impartiality, justice, promotion of righteousness. Point number 4, worship of Almighty God, Stuti, Prarthana, Upasana, according to the methods dealt in the Vedic scriptures. Practice of Ashtanga Yoga philosophy, increase of knowledge by legitimate efforts. Point number 5, utilization of the most excellent means. That means whatever is available with us, we must utilize it towards moksha. And the last point, doing everything that is to be done in an impartial way, just and righteous manner, etc., etc. So these are the 6 causes of emancipation. And further Maharishi says, a conduct contrary to these 6 will result in the disobedience of Almighty God's orders and contribute towards bondage. So whatever we do in contrary to these 6 things will result in our bondage. When we are in bondage, we will continuously be in pains. And release from the pain is called as moksha or mukti. Further, the questioner is asking, does the merging of the soul takes place in this salvation? Maharishi says, no, merging does not take place. The soul remains existent. The questioner is asking, where does the soul dwell then? Maharishi answers, in Almighty God. The questioner is asking, where is Almighty God? Does the emancipated soul remain at one place or does it stroll about freely everywhere? Maharishi answers, God is everywhere. God is omnipresent and is in a perfect condition. The emancipated souls stroll freely in knowledge, in happiness and independence. There is nothing to thwart its movements. So in the moksha, in the divine bliss of emancipation, the souls move freely across the universe, everywhere there, because Almighty God is there everywhere. And soul remains in knowledge, in happiness and in independence. There is no bondage on the soul. That is why the soul is in mukti stage. Further, the questioner is asking, does the emancipated soul possesses corporeal body? That means, do they have any body like, we have a body here? Similarly, the soul, will it have a body? Maharishi answers, no. The question is asking, then how does it enjoy the pleasure and happiness of the moksha? Maharishi answers, it maintains in fact all its natural attributes and natural capabilities such as true conception, etc. Only corporeal association cease. And further Maharishi quotes Shatpatha Brahmin shloka, Shrinuvan Shotram Bhavati, Sparshayan Tvag Bhavati, Pashyayan Chakshur Bhavati, Rasayan Rasana Bhavati, Jigran Granam Bhavati, Manvano Mano Bhavati, Bodayan Buddhir Bhavati, Chetayan Chittam Bhavataya Ahankur Vano Ahankaro Bhavati. The meaning is, in the emancipation, that is in the stage of moksha, the corporeal body and the corporeal sense organs do not remain with the souls. But its natural, its pure propensities remain intact. In emancipation, the soul, through its own potentialities, assumes the ear when it wants to hear, assumes the skin when it wants to feel, assumes the eyes when it wants to see, assumes the nose when it wants to smell, assumes the mind when it wants to think, assumes the intellect when it wants to discriminate or determine, assumes the memory when it wants to remember, and ego element when it wants to realize itself. In that state, its body is only the thought body. Just as in bondage, it seeks the support of the physical body and physical sense organs. Similarly, in the moksha, that is in the emancipation, the soul enjoys the bliss through its own innate powers. So, the finally question is asking then, how many powers are there? Maharishi answers, there is only one power. But by deeply analyzing all the powers of the soul, we can come into 24. What are those 24? Strength, energy, attraction, suggestion, motion, awe, discrimination, activity, courage, memory, determination, desire, affection, aversion, union, disunion, analytic capacity, synthetic capacity, hearing, touch, sight, taste, smell, knowledge. With these 24, the soul enjoys happiness in emancipation also. Had the soul undergone a dissolution in emancipation, who would have been left to enjoy the happiness? That means in the Neo-Vedanti says, when you attain moksha, the soul will merge in Almighty God. If the soul merges in Almighty God, then who will enjoy the bliss? Who will enjoy the moksha? So those who think that the annihilation, that the soul ceases to exist, the soul will merge with Almighty God, are most foolish people. The emancipation of the soul consists in the release from the pain and happy dwelling in the blissful, all-pervading, infinite Almighty God. That is called as moksha. In moksha state, the soul does not unite with Almighty God. The soul does not become Almighty God. Like, people say everything is Brahman. When you realize yourself, you will understand that you are Brahman. That is not, because when you realize that you are Brahman, then who is going to enjoy the happiness of moksha? The soul is always distinct even in the samadhi stage, even in the moksha stage. So this is really beautiful, and the shloka of Shatpatha Brahmana you cannot easily understand. It requires a lot of meditation, a lot of hearing of knowledge of Vedas from an Acharya. Otherwise it's not easy to, the soul assumes the ear when it wants to hear. There are so many secrets inside these shlokas. We must listen Vedas from an Acharya to understand these kind of things. I hope you enjoyed the answers of Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati. Thank you so much. Namaste. Om.